Uh, a lot of stuff can be rebuilt. If you have your life, a lot of stuff can be, replaced. But one thing that we have is those memories, and I feel for many of you there. Also, look for uh, this is the part when nobody likes to talk about, but in tragedy there is opportunity. There is going to be looking for rebuilding. This is going to take time. You're looking at probably homes that are probably going to be rebuilt there. I would look at Lennar Pulte homes, something like that. Some of these were custom homes, so I don't know how much leeway they're going to have, but you will look at companies like Georgia Pacific, which produces a lot of lumber, and really they distribute to a lot of private mills and also Home Depot and Lowe's. Expect those companies to go up in value just because of what's going on. So you start seeing opportunities where really that it's looking very favorable where you can invest. So let's see what else. Let's look at. I want to look at any see what news that CNBC may have, and let's go share this with you guys. Perfect. Here we go. Okay, well, CNBC, what we start looking at, I want to see what kind of news they have. TikTok, again, that's what's happening a lot of with the ban that's happening this week. I really believe this is going to be, even if it's one day before the new administration, I believe this is going to be reversed. This is just really more news. One thing I want to say about Mark Zuckerberg. So Mark Zuckerberg is coming out and it's talking about a lot of the just the changes that's happening in Facebook. And you know, actually many people have different opinions of Mark Zuckerberg. I actually like the dude. I really do. I think he's a very misunderstood, and I do agree. I mean, he was pressured from the Biden administration. That I could see that, and sometimes when you want to play, you gotta play the game, and that's what politics is. You start seeing. A lot of stuff that's happening here. Just news is coming up. Just reading what's on here. Special Counsel Jack Smith resigns from the DOJ as Trump's fight to block final report continues. And this is a travesty here. I must, I want to share this part here. This is a travesty of epic proportions. How you have one political party that has used the Department of Justice as a battering ram, as a way to just eliminate their opponents. And this is the plight that many people from my community, the brown, the Hispanic, and many from the African American community, we've known that this has been used for a long time against people. It's just you white people have just woken up to it. Your conservative America has just woken up to the fact that the Department of Justice is used against people in order to get what they want. White America saw it in full display against Donald Trump. This is the thing that we want to look at, that this Jack Smith, I mean, he's like every other prosecutor that I've ever seen, that all he wants to look at moving up in the ladder, even if it means is screwing over innocent people. There are many innocent people that are in jail. Innocent people. Why? Because you have people that want to move up the ladder. How do you move up the ladder? You take cases that you know you can get evidence and boom, lock them up forever. That's how the Department of Justice works. That's how it works. No integrity. Uh, don't give someone a chance to be reformed. Some of you were like, why are you passionate? Because I've been part of a redemptive force of by God because of frontline ministries of like Teen Challenge. So you start seeing that when you've been incarcerated for nonsense, this stuff really hurts. But white America finally has a taste of what a lot of brown and black people have been going through for years. It's the Department of Justice. A lot of the civil rights movement, everything that was going on, that was the Department of Justice, of course, controlled by the Democratic Party. Just white America got a taste of how it felt. And that's what they did to Donald Trump. Uh, Jack Smith is a disgrace. I believe should be prosecuted. Any pension, anything these people, all these people have had should be stripped. I mean, really, they've intentionally destroyed this company, this country. One of the things is that we've lost in this community and even discourse in the United States is about you could be from different party affiliations and still get along. I grew up under the Democratic. I grew up in New York City, so I grew up Democrat. But I was more like you look at someone like Jimmy Carter, who just passed away. Most people, that's your typical Democrat, someone who really loves their country. And I don't think Jimmy Carter intentionally tried to destroy this country. Now, he wasn't the smartest. I mean, good grief. He was not the smartest, and a lot of the moves he made were devastating to our country. But I don't think he ever really intentionally tried to destroy this company. That's the difference. The Democratic Party of this, what we just had the last 20, 30 years, this has been the party of destruction and chaos. Hopefully we could get to a place where we can discourse and talk about how we can meet in the middle. Then I think we'll start seeing a lot of healing here. But faith based, we're looking at ways to invest. And as a faith based investor, I also got to invest with my principles and what I stand on is on the Bible. There's a lot of companies that you look at that are not Christian. Really, there's not one Christian company in the stock market. Really, because if there was, it would be messed up. So that's why you have a lot of good private companies, but then you can invest in those, and that's where other entrepreneurs like the real estate investing, and that's what I've done. I do stock and real estate. Those are my two playing fields. Now, one thing that you look at in real estate for the real estate investor has been so difficult in the last few years, really to get a treading on maybe flipping houses or finding good rentals that can rent with even all the high interest loans, even with the cost of construction, because you had a lot of projects around 2021, 22 that really went over because of how high inflation went. And you have a lot of investors that really lost their footing back then and haven't even recovered. So you start seeing that a lot of flippers have been on the sideline lately. And what a lot of people have turned into, instead of flipping and buying old houses and just kind of renovating them, you have two problems there. You have people that have a low interest rate on a house. Even if they don't like the house, they're not going to sell it, especially when they're paying like $400 or $500 worth of rent. And if they bought the same house, that same payment would be like about 1,000. So a lot of people are not going to sell their houses until interest rates go down, if they even go down. So that's a plus. So you start looking at opportunities where many real estate investors have focused on new construction, maybe going with a GC instead of using like a crew of guys, is actually going with a GC, building new construction homes and buying just empty lots, basically doing single family homes anywhere from the 150 to 250 range, in that range, and then those houses could be worth anywhere from 2 to 350 in that range. That middle class America range, that working class, those type of properties. When you're dealing with $1 million homes and you're dealing with low income type of homes, is a really two different type of investment strategies you need there. I believe that there's still opportunities for the real estate investor. You just have to search. There's many things that I've had views over the last 10 years from investing in real estate, from I buy houses, signs all posted all over the city, to to postcards, to like using apps, PropStream, Deal Machine, all these other type of products. And a lot of them, what you start seeing is they each have like a season where they work well, where it's like too many people were doing like a lot of the calls. They were just hiring out people and just doing calls. Like I get like at least 10, 15 calls a day from people who want to refinance or buy a property. So those type of those type of techniques really, people can't stand them. And you start seeing how everything kind of recycles back into maybe recycles back into like, hey, what used to work before now is working again. So like from postcards, I believe postcards will work again. One of the ways, a little ninja secret that for those new investors, is actually go and do a reverse engineering. One of the things that I did many years ago, and I still do to this day, is I use the city code enforcement. What do I mean? Through many petitions and also through different laws, you can actually you can uh, you can like ask for certain things from I can't even think of the word right now. It just slipped in my mind. But basically, you can do look for code violations from the city enforcement, and it's all public information. So a lot of it is just filling out the form in your city public information, or the city hall. And what you do is you kind of look from they look from dates. So I would go in the last 90 days. I want all the houses that had code violations for garbage outside, anything that was fined for like not being kept up. Those are type of clues where someone, you either have a distressed seller, a distressed landlord, or someone who's just wants to sell. And those are opportunities where you can try to see is, are they interested in selling. I have found many opportunities like that where I would just go reverse engineer and go through code enforcement. And basically, those are ways where I got deals from landlords that want to retire. A lot of them, you could go to these old apartment complex, these 10 unit, 15 unit apartments that you see nestled in your local city. Those opportunities where you may want a retiring landlord. A lot of people want to cash out. And those are opportunities for you to invest in 2025. If you're doing stock, there's so many companies to invest. I am bullish on Tesla. I really believe that with the Trump administration, Tesla is going to do well. Palantir is going to do well. Amazon's going to do well. And many of the tech companies that are associated with Andreessen, all the good venture capitalists that have really been supportive of Donald Trump, you're going to see a lot of changes. And in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, in the next 4 years, we're going to see what true favor from God looks like. I believe we're going to see a demonstration of what the favor of God looks like on Donald Trump. I believe we will probably add one. I'm even going to bold enough to say two states. I know everybody's talking about Greenland, but I believe Puerto Rico, my native country, my native land. My parents are from this. Is part of the United States as an island, independent island. But I believe it will become number 52. Many people have wanted that to be number 51, but I think Greenland is more probable. And even if the prime minister has already publicly said that he's willing to discuss, and I believe. I think he sees that there's favor with the United States. And right now is, I'm praying for the hedge of protection over our president, over our leaders. It's going to be an uphill battle. I don't live in La La Land where I think that everything is just going to go smooth and I have a euphoric outlook that everything is just going to go up. But I also believe that there's optimism, there's also hope, there's also going to be opportunities to invest. That's where I'm believing in. Those are the opportunities that make it for people like you and I. Just average people to either start a business, to either invest in real estate, or to invest in the stock market. You know, I always look at this, and I have a dollar bill right here. Let me get it out. And this right here, what I love on this $1 bill is George Washington. Now, over 200 years ago, George Washington, he fought for our freedom. Now, today, George Washington is still fighting for our freedom. He just does it for our financial freedom. And I always look at my investments and I always say, I only want to set George Washington free if he comes back with two or three. You just need to know where to set him free so he can come back with two or three. And as we look towards this year, there's going to be many opportunities for you to look for risk reward ratios where you can either like minimize your risk, but your reward is great. To me, companies like Tesla, Royal Caribbean, Amazon, Palantir, Rivian, many others that I've mentioned early in this broadcast, I believe that they're going to go up along with many other companies that I did not mention. There's going to be opportunities for many people to invest. Now, many of you look at, some of you, I believe I have a word for the single brothers here. Now, all you single brothers that are watching me, and if you're saying to yourself, I need to change something. Well, for you single brothers, I have a word from the Lord from you. If you're the type of single brother that maybe you you have a receding hairline, maybe you God hasn't blessed you with good looks, or maybe you have a mild case of halitosis. The quickest way to overcome something like that is a six-figure income, my brother. A six-figure income, my brother. That's the only way you're gonna overcome that. So it behooves you to start investing, my precious brother. It behooves you to start investing. Now, what are we looking at? I want to go look at certain stocks here, and let's look at some. I'm gonna share my screen with you, and we're gonna look at Trading View. Let's look at we're going to start here with stocks here. And this is the free version. You can have a paid version of Trading View, but it's a good way to just get started. Tesla stock, what you've seen, it has done some moves where it's like it's gone from its highs and it's gone down back to around that 390, 94 area. If this stock continues to drop in that 377, I'm going to repurchase more shares. I am bullish on this stock. I am also have options on this stock in the March, but I'm believing that this stock is going to go take off after Trump starts taking office. It has taken off. It has had a huge sell-off. And I believe for those investors that were saying, man, I think I missed the move. Man, I think I missed the move. To me, this is another opportunity for you to get back in the game. I'm still bullish on this stock. I believe long term, and you have to hear me again, long term, I believe this stock would be at 850. And if other stuff takes off, like Starlink and other the Neuralink, everything like that, I believe this stock could go to 1500. That's more me on the bullish side of it. I'm all about that. Let's look at what else. I want to look at. Let's look at Nvidia, darling here. Nvidia's, I believe, right here. This stock right here, it's hit a resistance right at this 136. This stock right here to me is looking very appetizing. Very appetizing. Right now, if you're looking maybe for maybe 11% move in the next couple of months, 1 to 2 or 3 months, I believe this is a good stock. It's right here. It needs to hold this line. This 136, it's really that 135, it's really holding that. If it follows that pattern, if it continues to hold, I believe this is going to be another leg up into that 150, 180 range, between that it could go up to there, depending on how good that Blackwell chip will do. Right now, Nvidia is the forerunner, but I'm always skeptical that there's going to be another company that's going to come up with a cheaper, better way on how to build these chips. And I'm pretty sure with the money that's involved in this type of space, it is a race to the finish, because this is a trillion, and I'm gonna say that again, $1 trillion space. And I want to say this: many people don't may disagree with me on what I say here. The coming of Christ. Let me take this off. I want to share this. I want to show my face on this one. It is my belief that God is coming soon. Now, no one knows the day nor the hour. No one knows the day nor the hour. But you know what? God has given us a brain. Now, I'm not afraid of technology, because the Word of God has given us, basically, they told us what happens. We will go to a one world currency, we will go to a one marketplace system. We will go to that. It is written. And as a matter of fact, God said it will happen. So, one of the things I say to myself is, what about, should Jesus tarry? Shouldn't it behoove me that I should follow scripture and leave an inheritance for my children's children? You look at the saints of old. I'm 47. When Visa, MasterCard, American Express came out in the late 70s and early 80s, many of the saints, they got spiritual. They were like, the end is coming. We're going to get the mark of the beast. That what was they were saying. And they were true. But one of the things that they've forgotten is that many things haven't been fulfilled yet. And it always, we need to occupy. Imagine if some of those saints said, you know what, God is coming, but what about if I take $10,000 and buy Visa share, MasterCard, American Express, and not sell? You know how many millions of dollars it would be worth today? That's why I look at companies like this, like Nvidia, Tesla, and I say, folks, we are moving to that. Why not take advantage? Occupy. Take the money or profits that you make from investments like that and use it towards the kingdom. Use them to occupy the land. Why? I'm a product of a faith-based ministry and a frontline ministry called Teen Challenge, because a country bumpkin preacher named David Wilkerson said yes to the Lord. A country bumpkin preacher named David Wilkerson said, I want to go help those youths in the Brooklyn, New York, that are being charged with murder, that are being charged with assault. I want to be the person to help them. You see, God is not looking, the only ability that God is looking for is availability. God is looking for your yes. And many of you here have dreams or visions that have not yet been fulfilled. Many of you here have dreams and messages that have been dormant. Many of you thinking many of you are worried about what other people say. Many of you are worried about what other people think of you. Many of you saying, think of even saying your message to social media. What about people going to think of me? And who cares what people thinks of you? You have to remember that you only pleasing the audience of one, which is God Almighty. He's the only one you need to please. God Almighty. And if He's giving you a message to speak to His people, if He's giving you a message of boldness to proclaim His word to His people, who are you to deny that? Who cares if someone doesn't like what you have to say? Who cares if someone says you're not qualified? Because what I have known is that God qualifies the unqualified. And God is looking for willing vessels. He's looking for people that are willing to just say, yes, I'll go. Send me. And God is looking for people that want to live in spirit and in truth. He's looking for people that are not afraid to proclaim his goodness. He's looking for people that want to say, I love souls. Some of you thinking, but Felix, I don't know what to say. I don't know what should I be doing, or what is my message. Sometimes you need to ask yourself and say, whose tears affect you? Whose story causes you pain? Whose enemies are you willing to confront? Or is the message that God is giving you to a younger version of you? For some of you, that's your calling. For some of you, God is giving you the message to speak to a younger version of you. What would you tell that person? What kind of wisdom would you impart in that person and say, don't do it this way, go this path? That path, that's not the way to go. It looks good, it looks glittery, it looks glamorous, but the end of that road is destruction. Is that the message that God is giving you to share? God is looking for willing vessels. It's 2025. Many of you haven't even started your dreams yet. You're waiting for something to happen, and I don't know why. Some of you said, you know what? In 2025, I'm going to go lose weight. And the only weight that you've lost is when you woken up on January 1st and you took a dump. That's the only weight you lost thus far. So now you have to see is, are you going to be truthful with yourself? Are you going to keep the words that you've spoken to yourself and say, I'm going to do it. I don't care what anybody says. I will run the race. I will live out my dreams and visions for the Lord. I will go, send me. Is that you? And now you start living and you start seeing that, hey, I am made for this. God has called you. God has appointed you. God has given you instructions. Go do. Is it going to be perfect? Nope. Is it going to be feel like every day is going to be euphoric? Nope. But you know what? Your spirit is going to be renewed because you are a person that lives for purpose. You that are watching me right now, you are the type of person that lives for purpose. Legacy. What does my life mean when I'm gone? What does my life mean when I'm gone? Live for purpose. 2025. We have a phenomenal year. It's your year. It's the year of the Christian entrepreneur. It's the year of the faith based investing. It's the year of faith based investors. It's time to occupy the land. And there's so many opportunities here. I believe, like, I got off this tangent with NVIDIA, but it is really going to be one of these companies that will reshape a lot of the things that we do. Robo drive taxi driving. I'm really bullish on that. I was in Phoenix a few weeks ago, and Waymo. It Google's a big investor in Waymo, and that's why I'm bullish on Google. I am bullish on Google. That's one of those companies, whether you like them or not. But that is the wave of the future. Many of us who have said, oh my gosh, who grew up during the times of the Jetsons, are saying to ourselves, this is really happening. We are actually looking at stuff like this. So I'm going to share some other stocks here. All right, let's go. Uh, All right, we get it. Nvidia, Apple. I was gonna share Apple, but Apple, I'm bullish on Apple, but Apple needs to. They need to at least. They haven't really invested or really. They haven't done anything innovative. They really haven't. Since Steve Jobs left, I mean, there really hasn't been nothing innovative. They're just building on the backs of stuff. So Amazon, I am bullish on Amazon. I like Jeff Bezos. I think he's a good dude. I think he's trying to make it right with Trump. Washington Post was very critical of the Trump administration the first time and even after. But I think can we all just get along? Kind of kicked into place. So I see that as a place to maybe look for a place for investing. Now, Amazon, to me, I've always felt like Amazon is eBay 2.0. Uh, Basically, it's a wholesaler. Like if you're a real estate investor and understand wholesaling houses, basically what Amazon is one of the biggest wholesalers in the country. Basically, think of it. They connect. They have a platform and they connect a, a buyer and a seller of a product or goods and services. It's very simple. It's a very simple model, and I love it. Now, one of the things is that I'm bullish on Amazon, but also I'm bullish on Rivian, which is also part of the stock that I was talking about. Is I am looking at what is uh, the you start looking at the electric grid, and I get that everything wants to move electrical. Now there's certain things that it does merit, but we do need our gas vehicles. I drive a F-150, so I need my gas. I love it. It is snowing in Chattanooga this past couple of days, so I'm glad I have 4x4. But many of the electric vehicles are not there yet, but I still do think that there is a place, and there is a place for them as they keep innovating those trucks. And Rivian is one of those companies that I believe that it is going to innovate. And with the partnership that they have with Amazon, I believe that a stock like Rivian, that's like $13 or wherever it's at right now, it could double. And if you're looking to be a safe investor, if maybe you're a young person, 20, 21, you could take $100 of your check every 2 weeks, and you could buy, 6, 7 shares, actually five or six shares of Rivian stock, and actually just start accumulating and just start seeing the growth. To me, stock investing is like a supersized savings account. That's basically what stock investing is. I love trading stocks. That's what you hear me talk about. Stock trading to me is basically a supersized trading account where you can just take your hard earned money and basically just watch it grow. Why do I say that? When you look at this $1 bill that we talked about earlier, and I'm only going to set him free if he comes back with two or three, is you have to understand is that we are in an inflationary type of economy. This is a currency. Now, this one is actually a silver certificate. I'll put that up there. This is a silver certificate. But this is actually, we have what's known as a currency. And a currency, it's in the name current, currency, current. So our money has to be moving in order for it to gain value. It used to be that you can trade this in for silver, actual silver, but you can't anymore. So what we have is a currency because we have been depegged from the gold standard. We're no longer pegged to the gold. We're more pegged to the what's known as the petrodollar, which was really negotiated by Harry Kissinger with the Saudi, with a lot of the Saudi companies and a lot of the Middle Eastern companies, which basically they take payment in American dollars. That's what's known as the petrodollar. And those things that we look at is you look at our dollar, and the way to beat inflation is by investing in companies. So when you put your money in a savings account, which is the popular stuff by a lot of gurus, put your money, save it, save it, save it. But what you find is savers are losers. Savers are losers. Why? Because your money loses power. Think of it. I don't think prices are going to go back down. I really don't think. Even with Trump in there, we've printed so much money. I mean, to artificially bring bring inflation down, you have to have assets. That's a key. We could pay off stuff that there's a difference. Now, right now is the way to beat inflation is to let your money park in a company and let it grow over time. This is how you multiply your money's buy through inflation. And as you go along through this year, many of you are going to find opportunities to invest. Companies like Arivian, companies like other ones, and you're going to find great type of investing strategies in here. So I look forward to speaking with you more and more, and I'll see you guys. Thank you. Till next time.